A rusted lunar outpost. A soldier and his daughter step onto the cracked surface, ridiculed by Earth's elite for inheriting scrap metal. But beneath the dust lies something no one expected, a legacy that could change humanity's future. Luna's small hand grips Rex's as they descend into the darkness. The first cache is just mining gear. The second? A message from beyond the grave. This isn't just a base. It's a test. What waits in the third level will force them to choose, reveal the truth and risk chaos, or guard it until the world is ready. Outpost Sigma 9 jutted from the lunar surface like the carcass of some enormous metal beetle. Its cracked solar panels shuddered in the vacuum when dust storms passed, their fractured surfaces catching the sunlight at odd angles. Rex Sterling planted his boots in the gray dirt and studied the structure through his visor. Every pockmark from micrometeorites told a story of neglect. Every buckled support beam spoke of years without maintenance. Luna tugged at his glove, her voice piping through the helmet comms. It's bigger than the pictures. The Inheritance Tribunal's documents had called it obsolete infrastructure and salvage-grade material. The corporate lawyers smirked when the deed transferred to Rex's name. Luna bounced on her toes as they approached the main airlock, already naming compartments in her head. Rex ran a hand along the exterior plating. The metal felt colder than the surrounding regolith. His uncle Tobias had maintained this place alone for 17 years before his death. That tight-lipped old bastard never did anything without 3 reasons. Luna pressed her palm against the airlock controls. "Daddy, is this where we're going to live?" Her breath fogged the inside of her helmet. The question echoed in Rex's ears like a decompression warning. Corporate strip mining teams usually picked abandoned outposts clean within 6 months, stripping wiring, life support, anything with resale value. Earthside salvage laws made it cheaper to abandon equipment than repatriate it. The fact that Sigma 9 still had exterior plating meant something had scared off the scavengers. The airlock mechanism groaned awake. Pistons hissed as the outer door slid aside, revealing darkness so absolute it seemed to swallow their helmet lights. Luna's grip tightened around 2 of Rex's fingers as they crossed the threshold together. Pressure seals engaged behind them with a sound like a rifle bolt closing. Their boots clicked against a floor thick with lunar dust. Rex's headlamp illuminated mining equipment frozen in mid-operation. A robotic drill arm suspended over an empty ore cart. Maintenance panels left ajar. Everything wore a film of gray powder, but the machines showed no signs of corrosion or part cannibalization. Luna sneezed, the sound muffled by her helmet. "It's like a museum," she whispered. Rex's light caught strange markings near the floor. Not scratches from equipment, but deliberate grooves cut into the metal. His military training recognized them instantly. Anti-tamper warnings in 3 obsolete coding systems. As he bent closer, motion sensors overhead flickered to life. The far wall shimmered. What had appeared to be another storage bulkhead resolved into a military-grade blast door, its surface pristine amid the derelict equipment. Luna gasped as a hexagonal control panel lit up amber, displaying symbols that matched the strange floor markings. Rex unsealed his helmet. The air tasted metallic but breathable. He pulled Luna close as the base's ancient speakers crackled awake. A recorded voice filled the chamber. Tobias's voice, but decades younger than Rex remembered. "Authentication sequence initiated," the recording said. The blast door's edges began to glow. Luna tugged at Rex's sleeve. "What's behind it?" Lunar dust swirled in the artificial gravity as the heavy door began to rise. Rex smelled ozone and something else beneath it, the sharp citrus scent of Tobias's aftershave, lingering after all these years. The light from within painted geometric patterns across their suits. Behind the door lay stacks of obsidian black cargo containers, each marked with Tobias's personal cipher. The nearest one hissed as its pressure seal released automatically. Inside, crystalline data rods glowed faintly blue, arranged with military precision. A pedestal rose from the floor between the containers. Its screen displayed a single line of text in Tobias's handwriting. "You always were a curious boy, Rex." The words pulsed twice before vanishing. The entire chamber thrummed as hidden generators awakened deeper in the complex. Luna reached for one of the data rods. "They're warm," she said. Rex caught her wrist before she made contact. The containers weren't just stored here, they'd been waiting. Waiting specifically for them. That realization settled in his gut like free-fall nausea. Across the chamber, the blast door's control panel now displayed a countdown timer. 47, 59, 59, and ticking downward. Somewhere below their feet, machinery groaned to life. The floor vibrated with the sound of enormous mechanisms engaging. Luna's eyes went wide as red emergency lights flared along the ceiling, painting fresh warnings across the walls in languages Rex didn't recognize. "Daddy?" Luna's voice had gone small. Rex sealed his helmet with one hand while pulling Luna toward the exit with the other. The blast door began descending faster than it had opened. They cleared the threshold just as it slammed shut, severing a tendril of glowing mist that had begun seeping from one of the containers. The mining equipment around them shuddered as if sharing some private joke. From somewhere in the ceiling, Tobias's voice chuckled. "Welcome home, kids." The mining level exhaled dust when Rex activated the overhead lights. Particles swirled like miniature galaxies in their helmet beams, settling on robotic arms frozen mid-swing. A mining cart tilted precariously near the central shaft. Its load of raw regolith spilled across the floor. Luna crouched to run a finger through the gray powder, leaving a perfect child-sized trail. Every surface showed signs of abrupt abandonment. Half-drilled boreholes, a coffee bulb floating in partial gravity near a workstation, a welding torch left balanced across two crates, its fuel line still connected. Rex checked the oxygen readouts automatically. The air was breathable, filtered to military specs despite the derelict appearance. "Daddy, over here." Luna's voice crackled across the helmet comms. She stood before what appeared to be another equipment locker, except its edges gleamed too sharp, its surface too free of lunar dust. The biometric scanner flashed red when Rex approached, then cycled through to green without input. Something beneath the floor clanked like a vault door disengaging. The chamber beyond smelled of ozone and lemon oil. Astringent cleaning solutions couldn't mask the sharper tang of quantum capacitors. Rex recognized it from his tour on the Mars perimeter platforms. Stacked black containers formed precise rows across the chamber. Each bore Tobias's cipher, a stylized S bisected by what looked like a mining pick. Luna bounced in the low gravity, her helmet banging against Rex's shoulder. "It's like a birthday." Rex caught her before she could touch the nearest container. His glove slid over the surface, not metal, not exactly. The material drank the light while somehow remaining visible. He'd only seen one other substance like it, prototype quantum shielding from a black site R&D lab. Owning this much would get someone disappeared on Earth. A datapad flickered awake atop a central pedestal. Static resolved into Tobias's face, though younger than Rex remembered. No wrinkles around the eyes, none of the radiation burns from his later years. The hologram smiled with all the warmth of a reactor breach. "Congratulations on passing the first test, nephew. That airlock code wasn't in any manual." The projection adjusted imaginary sleeves. "The lawyers said I died intestate." That wasn't quite true. Every container in the chamber hummed to life in sequence. Their sides became transparent, revealing racks of crystalline matrices and components Rex couldn't identify. Some pulsed with inner light. Others seemed to distort the space around them. Luna pressed against a container holding spherical devices. "Are those toys?" They weren't. Rex had seen schematics for early entanglement communicators during his Black Ops days. These models looked at least 3 generations more advanced. The patent numbers etched on their casings didn't match any Earth standard. The hologram continued. "What you're seeing shouldn't exist. Not legally, not theoretically. I spent 30 years making sure of that." Static interrupted the projection. When it cleared, Tobias's expression had hardened. "Earth's governments agree on one thing. They don't want another Luna uprising. So they capped what we're allowed to build up here." A display panel lit up beside the pedestal, projecting a schematic of Sigma-9. Sections Rex hadn't accessed yet flashed red, 3 sublevels deeper than the official blueprints showed. Energy readings spiked off the charts. Luna somehow navigated the security protocols faster than Rex could track, pulling up another schematic. "Daddy, look!" Her small fingers traced conduits running far beneath the lunar surface. "It's like tree roots." The schematic didn't show any known power source, just concentric rings of non-standard architecture extending nearly 2 kilometers down. The energy signature matched nothing in Rex's tactical databases. Tobias's hologram flickered again. "By now you've seen the survey reports. The official ones had the numbers divided by 1,000. The projection leaned closer. They told me this rock was worthless right up until they tried to shoot me off it. Rex checked the nearest container's manifest. The listed components were standard issue, until the SEV. Holographic Tobias spread his arms toward the cargo containers in a gesture that might have seemed welcoming, if not for the cold light in his projected eyes. Civilization in a box, the recording said. For someone wise enough to wield it. Rex ran his gloved hand along the nearest container's surface. The material felt neither cold nor warm, just somehow wrong against his fingertips like touching frozen silk. Through the transparent upper panels, he saw crystalline matrices pulsing in irregular rhythms. Their light cast shifting blue patterns across Luna's face as she counted containers under her breath. 23, she announced, then frowned at the hologram. Did Uncle Tobias collect them? The recording reacted as though anticipating the question. 3 corporations and 1 military delegation tried taking these within 7 days of discovery. Static distorted the projection momentarily. That's how I know the value. Luna pulled a dusty data slate from a nearby workstation. The screen flickered to life under her touch, displaying mineral survey charts with the Sterling mining cartouche. Her fingernails tapped against readouts that made no sense at first glance. Helium-3 concentration markers off the scale, deposit sizes that contradicted every official lunar survey. Rex recognized the anomalies immediately. The numbers had been doctored, but not in the direction he expected. Sigma-9's actual reserves showed 10,000 times the helium-3 of any documented lunar site, enough to power Earth's fusion grids for 2 centuries at current consumption rates. The hologram continued as Luna scrolled through more files. You'll notice the public surveys match only 12% of the raw data. Tobias's projection smiled without humor. The suppression wasn't about hiding poor yields. Luna squinted at a subsurface topography map. Why does it look like tree roots? Her finger traced the web of energy signatures branching beneath Sigma-9. The patterns resembled fractal growth more than natural mineral dispersion. Rex checked the container manifests again. Alongside the quantum tech components were over 70 kilos of stabilized helium-3 in portable containment fields, enough to power a small city, yet stashed here like spare rations. The hologram flickered. Somewhere deep in the base, heavy machinery engaged with a subsonic thrum that vibrated through the floor plates. Tobias's recording adopted a formal stance. This isn't an inheritance. It's an evaluation. Luna pulled up security feeds showing 3 additional sealed chambers below them. Each required separate authentication codes. The second chamber's temperature readouts showed absolute 0, despite no apparent cryogenic systems. The third registered no data at all, just blank space on the schematic where sensors refused to report. Metal groaned beneath their feet. Rex's tactical awareness noted the timing. Exactly 19 minutes since they'd entered the chamber. Exactly 37 seconds after Luna accessed the deepest files. Too precise for coincidence. We're being tested, he muttered. Luna leaned against a container marked agricultural samples. Its surface rippled at her touch like disturbed water. How deep do the tests go? The hologram dissolved into static. New schematics overwrote the displays. Sigma-9's true floor plans extending nearly 2 kilometers below the lunar surface. Energy signatures flared at multiple depths, aligning exactly with Luna's tree root patterns. Rex checked weapon systems out of habit. His standard-issue sidearm wouldn't matter against whatever waited beneath them. The realization settled like lunar dust. Tobias hadn't just stockpiled technology. He'd built a vault around something far older. Luna gasped as the containers simultaneously unlocked with pneumatic hisses. Their shielding layers retracted like flower petals at dawn. Cargo that had appeared static now shifted fluidly. Quantum processors rearranging their own components. Helium-3 canisters cycling through containment phases unrecognizable on Earth. The final holographic message played from all surfaces at once. Tobias's face appeared etched into the container walls, reflected in Luna's visor, even manifesting in the disturbed dust at their feet. You'll need it all, the projections said in unison, for what's coming. Temperature monitors spiked as the floor trembled. The central lift platform descended without command, revealing a circular shaft lit by an eerie bioluminescence that reminded Rex of deep-sea vents. Its walls pulsed with the same geometric patterns from the survey anomalies. Luna grabbed Rex's hand, her fingers shockingly strong for a child. "We have to go down." Security alerts blared as the external sensors detected multiple inbound craft. Rex counted 12 separate contacts before the system stopped enumerating. Corporate transponder codes, peacekeeper frequencies, and 3 emissions his HUD couldn't classify. The lift platform rose back into position, but not before Rex glimpsed movement in the shaft, something twisting through the light like smoke in reverse. The container nearest him shuddered violently, before projecting a tactical display of Sigma-9's perimeter. Defense systems Rex hadn't activated glowed green across the schematic. Luna stood before the lift controls with eerie calm. "It wants us to choose." Rex checked the helium-3 readings again. The sheer volume explained the corporate interest, but not the military urgency. Not the way certain signatures on the survey maps kept rearranging themselves when not observed directly. Tobias's voice issued from the walls one last time. "You don't claim a sterling inheritance. It claims you." The lift doors sealed themselves with a sound like a vault locking. Luna pressed both palms against the controls. For the first time since entering Sigma-9, Rex hesitated. The test wasn't about courage or wisdom. It was about recognizing when not to open a door. Across the chamber, one container remained opaque. Its surface reflected nothing, absorbed all light. Luna approached it while Rex monitored the advancing contacts. Her breath fogged the material as she leaned close. "It's singing," she whispered. Subsonic vibrations intensified beneath them. The shaft's bioluminescence brightened, casting long shadows that didn't obey the light's angle. Rex's tactical display showed the first corporate shuttle entering lethal engagement range. Sigma-9's defense grid activated fully, with a sound like 100 rifle bolts cycling in unison. Energy readings from below spiked beyond measurement thresholds. The opaque container split open along seams that hadn't existed moments before. Inside lay a single object, neither weapon nor tool, but something that blurred the line between both. It hummed in harmony with the vibrations beneath them. Luna reached for it without hesitation. Rex caught her wrist an inch away. The test had begun the moment they'd entered Sigma-9's airlock. Every action, every choice since then led to this precipice. The corporate armada now visible through overhead monitors meant nothing compared to what waited in the depths. Luna's fingers twitched toward the object. "It's okay," she said. "It remembers Uncle Tobias." The holograms flared one final time, projecting Tobias's face across every surface simultaneously. His mouth moved, but no words came. Only a countdown appeared beneath. 7 minutes and decreasing. Rex released Luna's wrist. The corporate shuttles opened fire. Sigma-9's outermost defenses responded automatically, but Rex knew they wouldn't last. The real fortress lay below, and whatever waited there had been sleeping until now. Luna closed her fingers around the object. The lift doors sprang open with enough force to buckle their frames. Wind howled upward from impossible depths, carrying a scent like overheated circuitry and growing things. Below them, something awakened. Rex stepped onto the platform with Luna still clutching the artifact. As they descended into the light, the last container sealed itself with finality. Sigma-9's test hadn't been about earning the inheritance. It had been about surviving long enough to use it. The lift descended through alternating bands of shadow and blue-white light. Rex counted 7 distinct pressure gates passing overhead, each bulkhead thicker than the last. His tactical HUD flickered, scanners blocked by some form of active damping field. Luna pressed her palm against the lift's crystal control panel. The veins in her hand glowed briefly beneath her skin as if reacting to the alien material. Beneath Sigma-9, the air tasted metallic and stale. Tobias's final message played from hidden speakers, his hologram flickering in and out between static bursts. The image showed him 20 years younger, dressed in a mining uniform now obsolete. His face looked gaunt, eyes bloodshot. "There's something else," the recording said. "Deeper." The screen beside the lift doors displayed a seismic scan. Geometric patterns pulsed beneath Sigma-9's foundations, an underground city of perfect angles and curves extending kilometers downward. No human design matched the fractal precision of those corridors. "Non-human architecture," Tobias whispered in the recording, "makes our best engineers look like cavemen." Static swallowed the image. When it cleared, a woman stood beside Tobias, Director Sarah Whitmore in her Lunacorp days before she'd taken over Earthside operations. Her expression turned the lift's temperature 5 degrees colder. "Humanity isn't ready," she said. "Not yet." The recording ended abruptly. Above them, something heavy shifted, Sigma-9's defenses engaging against the incoming corporate forces. Luna pointed to schematics still glowing on the walls. Odd hexagonal patterns repeated across the sublevels, growing denser the deeper they went. "Tree roots," she murmured. The lift jarred to a halt. The doors opened onto a cavern stretching beyond their helmet lights, not carved from lunar rock but built from some smooth black material that reflected nothing. The walls pulsed with the same blue-veined patterns from the schematics. Rex unsealed his helmet. The air down here held a charge like standing near old power lines. A path of circular plates led deeper into the cavern. Each step activated lights timed perfectly to their movement. Not motion sensors, Rex realized, but predictive illumination tracking them before they moved. Luna stopped at the third plate. "It remembers us." Tracks in the dust showed only one set of bootprints, Tobias's, undisturbed for decades. Rex followed them to the cavern's center where a single access terminal jutted from the floor. His uncle's fingerprints still marked the console from 20 years prior. The terminal sprang to life under Rex's touch, displaying a rotating model of the structure beneath them. Sigma-9 proved to be merely the surface plug atop a much older and vastly more complex installation. Down here, power readings spiked off the charts not from any human reactor, but from something emitting steady, unfaltering energy for 10 millennia at minimum, according to the alien dating system blinking in one corner. Luna tapped the screen, sections reoriented to her fingertips. Chambers labeled in cuneiform-like symbols dissolved into new configurations. "Library," she read aloud, puzzling over translations that kept shifting. The terminal suddenly projected new schematics, details Tobias must have uncovered but never uploaded to any official logs. Layers 12 through 18 showed vast chambers of crystalline structures, their energy signatures matching known alien artifacts recovered from 3 other moons. The scale here dwarfed all previous finds combined. A tremor ran through the floor. Dust shook loose from overhead structures that might have been supports or something far less mundane. The lift doors began closing automatically, then reversed without any visible command. Rex's sidearm slipped free of its holster, instinct more than expectation. Beneath them, something massive realigned itself with a subsonic groan. The terminal screen flashed red with a 15-digit countdown that hadn't been there moments before. Luna's breathing quickened. She pointed to the screen where new outlines formed, 4 chambers detaching from deeper levels, rising steadily toward Sigma-9's foundations. Energy readings climbed exponentially. "Reactors?" Rex asked. Luna shook her head. "Elevators." The terminal accessed hidden files. Tobias's personal notes dated from his final year. Entries marched down the screen in jagged script. Day 217, confirmed non-terrestrial origin. Structure predates human civilization by wide margin. Day 403, Whitmore, insists we bury this deeper than the charts show. Agreed. Day 511, the helium-3 deposits aren't natural formations. Waste byproducts, maybe, or bait. Final entry. Blueprints recovered from Sector Gamma match this architecture. Whoever built this planned to be found, or left traps for those who weren't invited. The terminal switched abruptly to a feed from Sigma-9's surface. Corporate shuttles swarmed the landing pads. Armored figures disembarked with breaching tools and portable artillery. Rex calculated response times. Even with Sigma-9's defenses, they had 17 minutes at most before the first teams penetrated this deep. A new panel lit up on the terminal. 4 symbols arranged in a diamond pattern pulsed, waiting for input. Luna placed her palm over them without hesitation. The cavern shuddered beneath their feet. A concealed door irised open 20 meters ahead, revealing a descending stairway of the same black material. The air from below smelled of ozone and something organic, cut foliage or perhaps open soil. The terminal displayed one final message. Tobias added, "The test isn't whether you find this place, it's whether you walk away." Rex checked the surface feed again. The corporate teams had already breached the first 3 levels. Luna gripped his hand tighter than any child should manage. Her other hand remained glued to the terminal where the 4 alien symbols had reshaped into a new configuration that somehow conveyed invitation. Sigma-9 trembled as something far below activated in earnest. The wall's pulsing lights brightened to painful levels before stabilizing into coherent patterns. Not random fractals, Rex realized, but schematics of distant star systems. A single point of light flared in each mapped constellation, linked by traceries resembling jump routes or perhaps something more esoteric. Luna took a step toward the stairwell. Then another. The terminal's surface feed showed the first corporate teams hitting the military-grade blast doors Tobias had installed. Their plasma torches flared uselessly against the alloy. Another tremor passed through the cavern. Not from above this time, but from below. The stairwell's edges began glowing. The scent of growing things intensified. Rex hesitated on the threshold. His HUD calculated depth. They'd already descended 3 times Sigma-9's official height. Whatever lay below had waited millennia. Luna squeezed his fingers. Uncle Tobias already chose. 20 meters above, something heavy impacted Sigma-9's outer shield. The cavern lights flickered. The stairwell remained steady, its glow unwavering. Rex breathed in the impossible scent of alien Earth. The decision had been made long before they arrived. He adjusted his grip on Luna's hand and stepped onto the first stair. The material yielded slightly underfoot, adjusting to his weight. Somewhere miles below, vast machines shifted to greet them properly. The lift doors sealed shut behind them with a sound like a tomb closing. Victoria Ashford's shuttle connected with Sigma-9's docking collar on the first attempt. The magnetic seals engaging with the whisper-precise alignment only corporate pilots bothered perfecting. Through the mess hall viewport, Rex watched the shuttle's pearlescent hull gleam under station lights. No military dings or miners' patch jobs, just flawless brushed titanium that probably cost more than his last 5 years of service pay. Luna stirred her ration pack with a spoon that had seen better decades. Mom brought lawyers again. 3 figures emerged from the shuttle's airlock. Victoria led the procession in her standard off-world business attire. Slate gray pressure suit with the Ashford shipping insignia embroidered in platinum thread. The 2 men flanking her moved like ex-military turned corporate security. Their identical briefcases likely held custody paperwork along with whatever corporate espionage tools slipped past lunar customs these days. Rex ran a thumb along the mess table's dented edge. He counted 7 standard exits, 14 potential improvised weapons within arm's reach, and 0 diplomatic solutions when Victoria got that particular tilt to her chin. The airlock cycled with unnecessary fanfare. Victoria stepped through without waiting for pressure equalization, her helmet already retracted into its collar. The scent of bergamot and something metallic preceded her into the mess hall. This place is unfit for a child. Victoria's opening salvo landed precisely where intended. Her gaze flicked across the stained ceiling tiles, the jury-rigged oxygen recycler humming in the corner, the emergency patches on viewport 3. Luna's spoon clattered against her ration bowl. I like it here. Victoria's lawyers took flanking positions at the table's end. Briefcases snapped open in unison. The taller one produced a hologram projector that threw schematics of Sigma-9's more questionable structural elements into the air between them. Highlighted sections pulsed red where stress fractures spiderwebbed through support beams. Superior Court granted emergency review, the shorter lawyer said. His suit probably cost more than the lunar dust covering it, given the documented safety concerns and educational deficiencies. Rex noted the phrasing, not allegations, but documented concerns, meaning they'd already greased the right bureaucratic palms to make their version the official record. He inhaled through his nose, catching the faint ozone tang of fresh legal filings. Luna's knee bumped his under the table. Her ration pack floated slightly in the low gravity, noodles drifting like sea creatures. Victoria produced a data pad with a flourish. New California's finest boarding school. Full Earth normal gravity. She tapped the screen. A brochure-perfect campus unfurled. All manicured lawns and smiling children. They have an astrophysics track. The projected images reflected in Luna's pupils. Rex watched his daughter's fingers tighten around her spoon. Corporate custody battles in the off-world territories followed different rules than Earthside. Looser regulations. More flex in jurisdictional boundaries. Families like the Ashfords didn't lose often. Luna stood abruptly. Her knee sent the ration pack drifting toward Victoria's impeccably maintained boots. What I need isn't a big house. Luna's voice carried the particular steel she'd inherited from Tobias. "Daddy wants me here." Victoria's smile didn't reach her eyes. "As your mother, I have a right to secure your future." Rex noted the phrasing. Not happiness, not safety, future. He'd heard that particular euphemism often enough during contract negotiations. Future meant assets. Future meant controlling Sigma-9's recently reassessed mineral rights. One of the lawyers produced a second hologram. This one showed Luna's academic test scores dancing alongside percentile markers, even basic educational benchmarks. "My father taught me calculus when I was 9. Luna's interruption landed with the precision of a targeted missile. "And how to repair airlock hydraulics. And which corporate lawyers blink when they're lying." The mess hall's overhead lights flickered. Not the usual power fluctuation, but the particular stutter pattern Tobias had coded into Sigma-9's security systems. Rex felt more than heard the distant hum of defensive arrays powering up. Victoria leaned forward. The move displaced 3 perfume molecules for everyone that escaped lunar gravity. "This isn't about what you want, Luna. It's about what's proper." Rex watched his daughter's face cycle through half a dozen expressions before landing on something disturbingly calm. Luna reached into her jumpsuit pocket and produced a handheld recorder older than she was, one of Tobias's antiques, judging by the wear patterns. A hollow projection bloomed above the scratched metal surface. Victoria's face appeared, though subtly altered, the private version she wore when no cameras rolled. The recording's timestamp showed 3 days after the first helium-3 survey results leaked. That base is a death trap. Holographic Victoria sipped something amber from crystal glassware. "We'll take Luna and the mineral rights before the quarter's end." An unseen voice murmured. Victoria waved a hand. "They're still processing Tobias's will. By the time Rex realizes what's happening, Ashford Shipping will own every viable deposit past the Tycho crater line." The actual Victoria's face could have flash-frozen nitrogen. Her lawyers exchanged glances. Sigma-9's ambient temperature seemed to drop 5 degrees. Luna deactivated the recorder with a click audible in the sudden silence. Uncle Toby left surveillance algorithms running in the comm arrays. She pocketed the device. They only activate when someone lies about why they're really here. Rex watched comprehension dawn across the corporate faces. Off-world custody hearings allowed covert evidence if it proved coercion or ulterior motives. Tobias's old recorder just leveled the playing field in a way expensive lawyers couldn't outmaneuver. Victoria's manicured fingernails tapped once against the table. The sound echoed through the mess hall like a judge's gavel. "This isn't over." Luna retrieved her drifting ration pack. "It never is." The lawyers began repacking their briefcases with slightly less precision than before. Rex noted the way their eyes kept darting to ceiling corners, suddenly aware of how many unmarked sensors might be watching. Victoria stood in one fluid motion, her tailored suit barely wrinkling. She paused at the airlock threshold just long enough to deliver her parting shot. "You'll understand when you're older." The heavy door sealed behind them with finality. Luna's shoulders didn't relax until the docking clamps disengaged with a reverberating clang. Through the viewport, the pearlescent shuttle pivoted with unnecessary abruptness, its maneuvering jets flaring brighter than strictly necessary. Rex exhaled through his nose. He counted 14 heartbeats before Luna spoke again. "They'll be back," she said, stirring her cold noodles with renewed vigor. Sigma-9's exterior floodlights flickered in sequence along docking arm 3, an old signal code Tobias had used during the mining wars. 1 flash, pause, 3 rapid. Then darkness, Rex translated automatically. "Look deeper. Prepare quick." Somewhere in the station's bowels, ancient defense systems cycled from standby to active. The mess hall's environmental controls emitted a subsonic hum that vibrated in Rex's molar fillings. Luna licked ration sauce from her thumb with deliberate calm. "I left out the part where Mother mentioned Admiral Patterson." Rex's spine straightened without conscious command. Patterson commanded Earth's off-world enforcement wing. If Victoria had that card in her deck, Luna drummed her fingers against the table in a rhythm matching the hidden defense array's activation sequence. Tomorrow should be interesting. Through the viewport, Earth hung like a blue-green warning against the starfield. Rex watched the corporate shuttle's engines flare as it cleared the danger perimeter. Neither of them mentioned the unspoken truth. Custody hearings were one thing. Military seizure orders were another beast entirely. The ration pack's noodles had congealed into a gelatinous mass. Luna poked it thoughtfully. We should check the lower chambers again. Somewhere beneath their boots, the alien structure kept its own silent time. Rex thought of pressure seals and unseen defenses, of legacy systems waiting for proper activation codes. Victoria would return with heavier weapons next time. Patterson's involvement changed the calculus entirely. Luna's recorder sat between them like a challenge issued. Rex picked it up, running his thumb across the playback switch. The station lights flickered again in that odd pattern. Outside, something much larger than corporate shuttles maneuvered beyond visual range. The new Tranquility Tribunal chamber hummed with the antiseptic buzz of corporate justice. Rex's boots stuck slightly to the freshly polished lunar composite floors as he took his seat. 200 clicks above, Earth cast its blue glow through the panoramic dome, making the Ashford legal team's platinum cufflinks glint like warning beacons. Victoria's lead attorney activated a holographic display with a flourish. Sigma 9's most dilapidated sections rotated in midair, exposed high-voltage conduits snaking across habitation corridors, a compromised oxygen recycler jury-rigged, with mining tape, the buckled plating in Luna's supposed sleeping quarters. Each flaw pulsed red in the projection, accompanied by safety violation codes. Magistrate Cho's brow furrowed at the 8th citation. Her finger hovered above her tablet's annotations field. These maintenance records are unconventional. Rex's court-appointed advocate, a fresh lunar bar admittee judging by his unbroken-in suit, fumbled with his own display. The tablet slipped in his grip, its projected defense exhibits shimmering like bad reception. My client's former military engineering credentials ensure objection. Victoria's second attorney didn't rise from his chair. Irrelevant to basic child welfare standards, the magistrate's stylus tapped. Rex counted 3 distinct rhythms before she spoke, an old spacer's habit for buying decision time. Luna sat perfectly still beside Rex, her legs too short to reach the floor from the standard tribunal chair. Her fingers danced across Tobias's antique wrist pad in sequences that didn't match any known input pattern. Victoria's lead attorney produced a final hologram, a gemstone-perfect rendering of Ashford Estate's Earthside campus. Tennis courts, hollow libraries, a zero-G dance studio. Contrast this with a child's daily environment on that installation. The pause before installation stretched just long enough to convey contempt without earning a reprimand. Magistrate Cho's stylus hesitated over her ruling panel. Luna's wrist pad beeped, a cheerful sound utterly at odds with the tribunal's tension. May I show something? Her voice carried that particular cadence of childhood innocence, layered over something far more calculated. Victoria's smile tightened at the edges. This isn't a classroom presentation, Luna. The magistrate waved a hand. Lunar custody protocols gave minors unusual leeway in evidentiary proceedings. Luna placed the wrist pad on the justice dais. Its projector emitted a cone of blue light that resolved into Victoria's face. Not the composed executive in the chamber, but a slightly disheveled version sipping amber liquor in what looked like a private orbital lounge. Holographic Victoria gestured with her glass. That base is a death trap. We'll take Luna and the mineral rights before the quarter's end. An off-camera voice murmured. Victoria smirked. They're still processing Tobias's will. By the time Rex realizes what's happening, Ashford Shipping will own every viable deposit past the Tycho crater line. The actual Victoria's chair emitted the faintest creak as she leaned forward. Lona tapped her wrist pad again. A security log superimposed itself over the recording. Date stamps, biometric verification markers, a chain of evidence trail leading back to Sigma 9's comm array. Uncle Toby programmed the receivers to capture encrypted Ashford channel traffic, especially inside your zero-G lounge. The chamber's environmental systems cycled up, their hum the only sound for 7 full seconds. Victoria's lead attorney found his voice first. This is clearly authenticated under Lunar Common Law Article 14b, Luna interrupted. Her fingers flicked the projection to a legal code display. Covert recordings admissible when proving coercion or material misrepresentation in custody proceedings. Magistrate Cho's stylus froze. Rex watched Victoria's manicured thumbnail dig into her own palm, just enough to leave crescent indentations without breaking skin. A single drop of blood welled but didn't fall. Lona's wristpad projection switched to a financial flowchart. Mom's trust fund gets a 20% boost once Ashford Shipping controls Sigma 9's mineral rights. The younger Ashford attorney reached for his briefcase. His fingers missed the latch twice. Victoria exhaled through her nose, a controlled venting of pressure like an airlock cycling. Children shouldn't be exposed to adult financial matters. Lona tapped one final command. The hologram dissolved into live security footage from Sigma 9. Luna rewiring life support nodes, assisting with solar array repairs, solving quantum equations alongside Rex at their battered mess table. What children need, she said quietly, is to be where they're actually wanted. Magistrate Cho set down her stylus with deliberate care. The click echoed like a docking clamp engaging. Victoria's smile collapsed inward. Her lips pressed into the bloodless line Rex remembered from their divorce mediation. The one that signaled she'd lost leverage but wouldn't concede. Lona retrieved her wristpad. The tribunal chamber's main display flickered, not with official evidence but with an image of Tobias standing beside a much younger Luna in Sigma 9's observation blister. The old man's arm around her shoulders, the child's face alight with reflected earth glow. The record will recess for deliberation, Magistrate Cho announced. But the way her assistant began packing up the citation pads told everyone what the verdict would be. Outside the pressurized dome, Earth turned inexorably toward night. Somewhere beyond the Terminator line, Ashford Shipping's orbital headquarters glittered like the jewel it was, polished, perfect, and suddenly powerless. Rex watched Victoria's legal team exit with rigid posture. Their crisp leather briefcases caught the light differently now, their luster diminished by something no corporate claws could polish away. Luna clicked off her wristpad, but not before Rex caught a glimpse of its final queued file. An encrypted transcript labeled Patterson Briefing, time-stamped 3 hours before the hearing. The magistrate's aide paused at the door. The Admiral's office has been informed about evidentiary tampering in custody proceedings. Not a threat, not a promise. Just a data point floating between them like lunar dust caught in slow sunlight. Lona kicked her feet against the chair legs, her shoes making tiny impact craters in the soft tribunal flooring. 9.3%, she murmured. Rex recognized the figure, the exact percentage by which covert recordings increased successful custody defenses in off-world cases. As they stood to leave, the chamber's lights adjusted automatically, earthshine and artificial illumination finding perfect balance at last. Pressure seals hissed as Rex slammed the emergency barricade across Sigma 9's inner airlock. The reinforced alloy door vibrated against his shoulder, corporate breaching tools already at work outside. Luna crouched beneath the control panel, her fingers dancing across Tobias's patched-together interface. The station's archaic displays flickered between system schematics and incoming assault feeds. Main corridor compromised. Luna's voice stayed level despite the red warnings flashing across every screen. They're using tribunal access codes. Rex checked his sidearm charge, 23%. Enough for warning shots, nothing more. The approaching security team moved with the crisp precision of ex-military contractors. Black pressure suits, corporate insignias on their pauldrons, breaching gear that cost more than most miners made in a year. Victoria's voice crackled over the open comm channel. This is for Luna's safety. That station is structurally unstable. The surveillance feed showed 6 armored figures stacking up outside the next bulkhead. Their warrant emitters pulsed, with a tribunal's official seal, except the authorization signature looped in a telltale corporate pattern Rex remembered from black market document mills. Luna's fingers froze over a particular key sequence. Halloween protocol? Her eyes met Rex's. Uncle Toby's notes say it's creative. Somewhere in the station's depths, ancient generators whined to life. The overhead lights stuttered, cycling through unnatural color temperatures before settling on an eerie pumpkin orange glow. Pressure doors down the corridor suddenly snapped shut, one slicing clean through a corporate agent's extended breaching rod. Unauthorized access detected, boomed a synthesized voice through every intercom. The cadence matched Tobias's dry sarcasm perfectly. Victoria's security chief barked orders. His team regrouped smoothly, plasma torches flaring against the suddenly recalcitrant door mechanisms. Then the station's grav plating hiccuped, dropping lunar gravity to Martian standard for exactly 3 seconds. 2 contractors stumbled. One floated a full meter before his boots reconnected with the deck. Luna switched camera angles. Admiral Patterson's lead enforcement shuttle had landed on Pad 3, its Earth Defense Fleet markings conspicuously absent. 4 more figures disembarked carrying equipment Rex recognized from urban pacification ops. Sonic destabilizers, neural interference emitters, the sort of tech reserved for hostage extractions. Corporate paperwork doesn't usually rate EDF Black Ops, Rex muttered. Luna tapped another sequence. Sigma-9 sprinkler systems activated, spraying a fine mist that evaporated before reaching the floor. The corporate team's thermal signatures immediately flared, their suits registering the liquid as a biohazard and overheating in response. One agent yanked off his helmet, only to gag as the station's air processors pumped in the lingering scent of month-old cabbage from the recycled organic tanks. Patterson's team reached the inner barricade. Their leader, a lieutenant commander by his stance, slapped a tribunal seal against the door's biometric pad. The metal glowed bore the new Tranquility Peacekeeper transport, docked with Sigma-9 using harmonic coupling, a gentler approach than Victoria's corporate shuttles or Patterson's boarding pods. Its hexagon-patterned airlock cycled open without the usual groan of aging mechanisms. Dr. Marlene Kramer stepped through in a patched environmental suit that had seen 3 generations of lunar dust, her gray braid tucked neatly under her collar. 6 blue-helmeted escorts remained at the threshold, their stance relaxed but weapons visible. Kramer carried no obvious armaments, just a worn metal briefcase and a datapad older than Luna. Rex counted 7 exits on instinct before relaxing his posture. Kramer had been Tobias's last surviving friend from the mining wars, one of the few names in Uncle's. Encrypted comm logs marked trust but verify. Her eyes sharp behind corrective lenses ground from salvaged shuttle. Windows scanned the mess hall with academic precision before landing on Luna, double-checking. My ident against Uncle's descriptions? Kramer's voice carried the dry humor of someone accustomed to suspicion. She placed the briefcase on Sigma-9's war table, a repurposed mining equipment crate, and entered biometric codes with practiced fingers. The rear escort is Patterson's plant, by the way. Standard infiltration tactic when dealing with controversial archivists. Luna crouched to peer through the briefcase's ventilation slits. It's not a bomb. Disappointed? Kramer's mouth quirked as latches disengaged. Inside lay stacks of flimsy plast documents so old their edges crinkled like autumn leaves. Some bore the faded stamps of defunct corporations. Others showed military classification markers that shouldn't exist outside black site vaults. Kramer spread the papers with archivist's hands, palms flat, fingers barely touching. Helium-3 survey reports from 43, suppressed by 4 governments and 17 energy consortiums. Her pinky traced a redacted line where numbers should have been. The only complete copy left. Rex picked up a brittle page. The figures matched what they'd found in Sigma-9's hidden terminals, deposit quantities that rewrote lunar economics. Kramer watched him absorb the implications, then tapped another folder. Ashford Shipping's acquisition timelines. Note the pattern of land grabs around confirmed Sterling mining survey sites. Her finger stopped on a dated entry. Sigma-9 sector, pending tribunal override. Luna pulled a schematic from the pile. This shows the alien structure. Kramer's breath caught for half a second. The only tells were a slight tremble in her jawline and how her thumb tightened around her stylus. Controlled disclosure is our play here, she said after composing herself. We reveal the helium-3 deposits, not the alien tech. Not yet. Rex examined a faded photograph clipped to one document. Tobias and Kramer standing before Sigma-9's original airlock, decades younger. His uncle held up 2 fingers behind Kramer's head in juvenile mockery. Some friendship survived ages and cosmic secrets. Full disclosure causes civil unrest 54% more often than phased reveals, Kramer said, handing Luna a thinner dossier. Assuming we want Earth governments handling this rationally. Luna frowned at the papers. Mother already knows about both. Victoria knows your father found something valuable. Kramer adjusted her glasses. She suspects alien involvement but lacks proof, hence Patterson's unofficial assistance. Our move is giving them an acceptable truth to chase. The archivist pulled an antique projector from her briefcase. Its hologram displayed a PR strategy, news placements, veteran testimonials, carefully edited footage of Sigma-9's facilities, all centering on the Helium-3 discovery as a patriotic victory, with Rex and Luna framed as underdog inheritors. Public sympathy is armor, Kramer said. She tapped the projection, zooming in on a subfolder marked Contingency Full Burn. Worst case, we scorch Earth with the truth about corporate theft from military families. Makes great holodrama. Rex flipped through the contingency plan. Kramer had anticipated every corporate countermove. Media smear campaigns, legal loopholes, even custody hearing tactics. The documents smelled faintly of lunar lichen, evidence of years stored in some underground archive. The Ashfords have mining rights acquisition patterns dating back 30 years, Kramer continued, showing their hand here nets us protective oversight from 3 Senate committees. Luna traced the alien structure's outline on her wrist pad. The gesture made Kramer pause mid-sentence, the older woman's eyes tracking the precise arcs Luna drew, the way the shapes matched certain markings in the archive photos. How long until we're ready? Rex asked. Kramer studied the girl's sketches with quiet intensity before answering. The first disclosure leak happens tomorrow via a retired surveyor with terminal cancer, plausibly deniable, maximally sympathetic. She pocketed her stylus. Phase 2 depends on how the Ashfords react. Outside, the Peacekeeper transport's engines cycled down to standby hum. Kramer checked the lone escort through the viewport, the supposed infiltrator now conspicuously adjusting his helmet. Mike, while angling toward their conversation. Patterson's man will report back that we're sitting on vast energy reserves, Kramer murmured. That truth should satisfy Ashford shareholders while keeping their focus away from... She nodded at Luna's wrist pad. Rex examined the sensor logs. Kramer had smuggled out dozens of obfuscated reports from early lunar missions, all documenting anomalies near Sigma-9's coordinates, each buried under layers of classification or corporate buy-offs. Tobias left you these? Rex asked. Kramer sealed her briefcase. He left me enough breadcrumbs to find them. Same as you. Her gaze lingered on an internal monitoring screen showing Sigma-9's lower levels, readouts spiking in unexplained 37-minute cycles. The compromised Peacekeeper coughed pointedly outside the airlock. Kramer handed Luna a data wafer disguised as an ancient music cartridge. Full tactical schematics for Sigma-9's original defense grid. Your uncle's modifications are in the blue files. Rex walked her back to the transport. Kramer paused at the threshold, adjusting her suit's oxygen sensor unnecessarily, a stalling tactic. That structure down there, she said quietly. It's waking up. How do you... Tobias sent monthly updates in cipher. Kramer's smile looked suddenly tired. His last transmission just said, "Tell Marlene the lights are back on." The Peacekeeper transport disengaged with military efficiency. Rex watched it shrink against the starfield until Luna tugged his sleeve. She forgot this. The girl held up a single photograph, Kramer and Tobias at some long-ago celebration, drinks raised. Scrawled on the back in Tobias's handwriting. When the choice comes, stand where they can't see you. Sigma-9's internal sensors chose that moment to register another power surge from the lower levels. This one lasted precisely 37 seconds longer than the others. Over the open comm channel, Kramer's voice crackled once more before static swallowed it. Remember, they'll accept the energy boon. The rest would break their worldview. Luna slid the photo into her pocket alongside the data wafer. Outside, Earth's reflected glow painted stark shadows across the lunar regolith, illuminating some truths while deepening others. The first moves of Kramer's gambit were already in play, pieces shifting on a board that extended far beyond Sigma-9's battered hull. The station's defense grid quietly activated perimeter sensors that hadn't functioned in years. Deep below their feet, something in the darkness pulsed in time with the closing transmission. The protest swelled outside Ashford Tower's main concourse like a slow-motion avalanche. 50 veterans in mismatched dress uniforms formed precise ranks behind a banner reading, Sterling Squad, Luna Division. Their metals caught the morning sun at identical angles. News drones buzzed overhead, transmitting live feeds to 17 major networks. Inside Sigma-9's comm center, Rex watched the crowd multiply on 6 different screens. His former squadmate Martinez adjusted the focus on a handheld camera, zooming in on civilian protesters joining the veterans. The shot framed an elderly woman handing out water bottles to ex-Marines in perfect composition. "That's going viral in 3, Martinez muttered. His tactical feed went live 30 seconds later. Luna monitored Ashford Shipping's stock ticker on a separate display. The numbers plummeted with eerie synchronicity to each new protest image flooding the net. 3 board members just resigned, she announced. "Mother's going to—" Victoria Ashford's priority transmission cut through mid-sentence. Her hologram materialized in Sigma-9's main hub, the projection flickering with distortion. No makeup today, no carefully arranged lighting. Just dark circles under bloodshot eyes and a half-empty glass of something amber on her desk. "You need to call them off." Victoria's voice cracked on the last word. Rex crossed his arms. The gesture looked casual on camera, but Luna noticed how his fingers dug into his biceps. They're exercising constitutional rights. A news alert flashed. Senator Cho announcing emergency hearings on corporate military overreach. Luna maximized the feed, letting the soundbite play. Unacceptable use of private security forces against decorated veterans. Victoria's image pixelated momentarily. When it cleared, her hands shook visibly around the glass. Those helium-3 deposits are legally contested. This media circus, actually. Luna pulled up Kramer's archive footage. According to Article 14 of the Lunar Settlement Acts, Martinez's camera feed cut to Sigma-9's mess hall, Rex teaching Luna advanced physics at a table scarred with decades of use. The shot lingered on her patched pressure suit sleeve, the homemade equations scribbled on the wall behind them. 6 million views in 12 minutes. Ashford Tower's lobby camera feed showed Senator Cho's staff marching through the revolving doors bearing subpoenas. The protesters' chant morphed into something rhythmic and sharp. Veterans and civilians alike pounding the pavement with identical timing. Victoria's transmission glitched again. This time, when it stabilized, 3 corporate lawyers hovered behind her shoulder. One mouthed numbers at a data pad. Another kept touching his earpiece. "My investors are pulling out," Luna finished. She rotated her display to show 3 more board resignations. Because public sentiment shifts 40% faster when veterans lead disclosure movements. Her fingers danced across the console. Also this. She queued up footage from Sigma-9's exterior cameras, the Halloween Protocol's orange light silhouetting Rex at the barricaded airlock, sidearm drawn against corporate shock troops. The image froze with perfect framing. One soldier standing between his daughter and the invading fleet. Martinez's live feed cut to veterans at the protest holding up tablets, showing that same image. The crowd noise doubled in volume. Victoria's transmission cut out mid-syllable. Luna checked 3 different financial feeds. Stocks down another 18 points. Rex watched the protest footage expanding across networks. Some stations ran it alongside old clips of his deployment days. Others spliced in Luna's custody hearing testimony. The narrative crystallized in real time. Corporate greed versus veteran resilience. Meanwhile, Sigma-9's internal monitors showed something else entirely. The alien structure's energy readings pulsed in steady 37-minute intervals. Each cycle stronger than the last. The pattern matched exactly with Luna's archived footage of Victoria's first corporate takeover 17 years. Prior, Dr. Kramer's newest dispatch arrived through military back channels, a single line buried in logistics reports. Senate oversight unanimously approved. Stand by for extraction. The word extraction glowed ominously until Luna deleted it. Outside Ashford Tower, the crowd swelled past security barriers. News drones captured the moment when veterans and miners formed a human chain around the building's perimeter. Senator Cho emerged on the steps holding paperwork that fluttered in the artificial breeze. Luna zoomed in on the document headers. That's a full audit of Ashford's off-world operations. Rex checked the weapons locker out of habit. His old service pistol lay disassembled for cleaning. The pieces gleamed under work lights. Martinez's camera panned across the crowd, now singing an off-key version of the Marine Corps hymn. Someone had projected the Sigma-9 standoff image onto Ashford Tower's sleek surface 20 stories tall. Luna pulled up seismic scans from Sigma-9's lower levels. The alien structure's activity spiked again, this time in clear synchronization with Ashford stock hitting its lowest point in company history. Victoria's second transmission attempt lasted 6 seconds, just enough time to show her office windows reflecting the protest below. The feed died as Senator Cho's voice boomed through external speakers announcing corporate accountability measures. Back at Sigma-9, the perimeter alarms remained silent. No corporate shuttles approached. No military frequencies buzzed with encrypted traffic. Just the steady thrum of the alien structure below their feet and the roar of public opinion shifting irrevocably outside. Martinez packed his camera gear methodically. He paused at the airlock to clap Rex's shoulder. Buddy of mine works Senator Cho's detail. Says they found irregularities in 5 other mining claims. Luna pulled those files up before he finished speaking. Same pattern every time. Survey teams report major finds. Ashford lawyers move in. Original claimants suddenly settle for pennies. Rex studied the financial data overlaying protest footage. The numbers didn't lie. Public sentiment moved markets faster than corporate lobbying ever could. And once veterans took up the cause, even the most entrenched interests crumbled. Sigma-9's internal sensors pinged. Not an alert, just a systems check from the newly activated defense grid. The one Tobias had modified all those years ago to respond not just to physical threats, but to certain encrypted signals specific to Ashford corporate channels. Luna monitored 3 separate news feeds showing different angles of the tower protests. On one, veterans distributed printed copies of Kramer's suppressed helium-3 reports. On another, civil rights lawyers addressed cameras beside weeping families of displaced miners. The third showed Ashford Shipping's main stock ticker flatlining in real time. Deep below them, the alien structure's pulse quickened for the first time in recorded history. The energy spikes no longer followed their predictable 37-minute intervals. Now they came erratically, clustered, insistent. Almost like a language. Martinez shouldered his gear bag. Cho's introducing new legislation next week. Veteran Mineral Rights Act, permanent protections. Rex nodded toward the protest feeds. They did that. Luna's fingers flew across the console. Mother's private shuttle just filed a flight plan for Earth. The news broke 30 seconds later. Victoria Ashford taking indefinite leave from all corporate positions. The Chiron scrolled beneath images of protesters embracing. Sigma-9's long-range sensors pinged one final alert. An incoming priority transmission flagged for Senator Cho's office. Attached documents bore the seal of the newly formed Lunar Oversight Committee. Luna decoded the headers first. They're granting us permanent custodianship. Full mineral rights. The protest feeds showed cheering crowds now. Martinez's camera captured fireworks someone had smuggled past security. Rex exhaled for what felt like the first time in months. His gaze dropped to Luna's console where buried under Senate documents and financial reports. The alien structure monitor continued. Its erratic pulse. The battle had been won. The mystery remained. The docking bay echoed with the metallic clangs of mining rigs, securing to Sigma-9's refurbished piers. Luna stood atop a maintenance crate, directing traffic in a pressure suit patched with seals from 3 different systems. Her voice crackled through the bay's ancient speakers, equal parts ship hand and teenage girl, as she guided a battered ore hauler into slot 5. The pilot waved through his cracked viewport, grinning as Luna flipped the manual maglocks herself. 2 levels up, Rex sat in what had once been Tobias's office. The walls were papered in Luna's engineering schematics, not just for Sigma-9 systems but prototypes for atmospheric recyclers and energy grids. Each bore notes in her precise handwriting. The desk no longer held military tacticals but trade agreements drafted in straightforward language. Miners didn't need corporate legalese when deals were fair. Dr. Kramer arrived every 3rd Tuesday on the new Tranquility transport, her briefcases heavier with each visit. History texts, engineering manuals, once a crate of actual paper books that made Luna's eyes widen. The archivists and ethicists who accompanied her stayed strictly in designated sectors. The alien chamber's blast door remained, sealed under layers of military-grade locks and something else, a hum from the walls whenever unauthorized personnel approached. Sigma-9's mess hall had transformed. Harvest lights strung along the ceiling illuminated tables crowded with miners comparing survey data. The rations now came supplemented by the new greenhouse's first crops, leafy greens grown under salvaged spectrum bulbs. One wall, the mining elevator shuddered as it descended past Sigma 9's last mapped level. Luna's newly adult fingers danced over the control panel, no longer reaching up to input codes as she had at 12, but moving with the unconscious precision of someone who'd rebuilt most of the base's systems. The lift's ancient display flickered between depth markers, finally stabilizing at 3,127 meters. "You sure about this?" Rex's hand brushed his sidearm out of habit. The weapon wouldn't matter against what waited below, but rituals grounded a man. Luna didn't answer. The final access code glowed under her fingertips. Tobias's cipher inverted, her own modifications layered beneath. The doors parted with a sound like breaking glass. Cold blue light spilled across their boots. The chamber beyond stretched further than their helmet beams could reach, its ceiling lost in darkness. Geometric patterns pulsed across every surface, not projected or painted but seeming to originate from within the very structure. Rex's breath fogged in air 15 degrees colder than Sigma 9's upper levels. Crystalline formations rose in clustered spires, each branching like fractal trees. Their cores glowed with shifting hues, indigo to violet to something just beyond visible spectrum. The nearest cluster hummed at a frequency that vibrated in Rex's dental fillings. Luna unsealed her glove before Rex could stop her. Her bare fingers grazed the smallest crystal. The effect was instantaneous. Her pupils dilated until only thin rings of hazel remained. Blood vessels traced luminescent patterns beneath her skin, mirroring the chamber's pulsing light. The crystal under her touch flared blinding white. Rex grabbed her shoulder. His fingers passed through a corona of static before making contact. Luna didn't react. Her lips moved without sound, forming words in no language Rex recognized. The entire chamber brightened in response. Projections bloomed above each crystal cluster, three-dimensional star maps far denser than human charts. Nebulae resolved into intricate topographies. Binary stars displayed orbital paths stretching millennia into past and future. Rex recognized none of the systems. Luna gasped. Her free hand flew to her temple. The projections changed, showing molecular structures now, DNA helices entwined with geometries that shouldn't exist in nature. Medical diagrams scrolled too fast to follow. Cellular regeneration, neural augmentation, something that might have been quantum gene editing. Then the energy diagrams appeared. A single teardrop-shaped reactor design dwarfed every human power source. Its output markers exceeded Sol's total energy by orders of magnitude. Beside it, fusion technology looked like candle flames next to supernovas. Luna's body jerked. The connection broke with an audible snap. She stumbled backward into Rex, her breathing ragged. The blood vessel's glow faded slowly beneath her skin. "My God," she whispered. The chamber darkened. Only the crystal's internal light remained, pulsing patiently. Rex checked her pulse. Elevated but steady. "What happened?" Luna flexed her fingers. Static danced between them. "Library," she managed. "Not just data storage. Direct neural interfacing," her wristpad beeped. The medical scan showed unusual neural activity, new connections forming in real time across her prefrontal cortex. Earth's most advanced brain mapping labs couldn't achieve that outside simulations. Rex studied the nearest crystal. Its surface swirled like liquid under glass. "You understood it?" "Not all." Luna touched her tongue to her upper lip, tasting blood from a burst capillary. "It's tiered. Some layers protected behind physiological barriers." She pointed to the smallest spire. "That's beginner material. Energy production, medical knowledge." Her gaze traveled to the largest cluster at the chamber's center. Those crystals glowed a persistent red. "That's not meant for us yet." Rex approached the central formation cautiously. His proximity made the red glow intensify. The air around it warped slightly, like heat haze over desert asphalt. Pressure built in his sinuses. A hologram activated overhead. Tobias's final message. "Knew you'd make it someday, kiddo." The recording looked decades older than the others they'd found. Deep wrinkles, radiation scars. This isn't just tech. It's an evaluation system. Tests species worthiness before granting real knowledge. Luna wiped her bloody nose on her sleeve. "How far did you get?" "Far enough to know we're not ready." Tobias's hologram gestured to the red crystals. "That's stage 2. Governance structures, consciousness transfer, things that'd either save our species or shatter it. The projection dissolved into static. When it cleared, Tobias sat slumped in a chair Rex recognized from Sigma-9's old command center. Marlene thinks they seeded this under multiple civilizations. Some passed. Some failed catastrophically. He coughed, wet and ragged. Breathed their air too long down here. Funny sacrifice, huh? Died protecting knowledge I couldn't use. Luna stepped toward the red cluster. Rex caught her wrist. She didn't resist. Just watch the crystal's pulse. It adapts to each species' neurology. Paces revelations. Her free hand sketched patterns in the air, mirroring something the interface had shown her. The medical knowledge alone could eradicate disease. The energy tech solves climate collapse overnight. Above them, Tobias's final words looped. Question isn't whether we can use it. It's whether we should. Rex released Luna's wrist. The red crystals throbbed in sync with Sigma-9's deep-level energy spikes. 37-minute intervals, same as always. Waiting. Luna exhaled sharply. We need Kramer. Select others. Build frameworks first. She reached again. Not for the red spires, but a smaller blue cluster. Practical engineering schematics bloomed above it. Atmospheric processors, water reclamation systems, all far beyond current human tech but clearly descended from it. Start here, she said. Prove we can handle the gifts. Rex studied the projections. They showed Sigma-9's docking bay retrofitted with alien-derived systems, independent of corporate supply chains. Sustainable, scalable, a quiet revolution. Luna's fingers hovered over the blue crystal. It won't force knowledge on us. We have to ask. The chamber lights brightened fractionally. Not in challenge. Not in threat. An invitation. Luna found the letter in the observation blister's maintenance alcove, a spot she'd passed 1,000 times without noticing the nearly invisible seam. Moonlight bled through the single sheet of station-issue paper, making Tobias's cramped handwriting glow blue against the aging fibers. Earth hung massive in the viewport behind it. Continents half-shadowed by night. Home isn't where you come from, the note began, but where you choose to stand. The words were penned in the same ink Tobias had used for technical manuals, industrial-grade fluid that never faded. A coffee stain marked the top corner, its edges hardened to crisp brown. Rex entered as Luna turned the page. His boots left faint prints on glass dust that had accumulated under the console. The discovery of the lower levels had pulled every available hand into frenzied activity, leaving routine maintenance undone. More of Tobias's secrets? Rex peered over her shoulder. His calloused finger traced an addendum on the reverse side. The greatest treasures aren't things you find, but people you protect. Luna held the paper to the light. Faint impressions showed where other notes had once been stacked beneath it. Decades of unsent letters pressed into the fiber. The newest entries bore timestamps from Tobias's final 6 months, written after the radiation sickness had begun showing in his medical logs. Deeper in the note, technical observations mixed with personal reflections, schematics for stabilizing Sigma-9's damaged solar arrays, shared space with reminders to check Luna's winter boots for worn insulation. A particularly detailed diagram of the alien chamber's locking mechanism ended abruptly with, "Don't let them rush her. She'll know when." Rex exhaled through his nose. The station's outer hull creaked as it always did during lunar dawn, metal expanding under the sudden solar heat. The sound had terrified Luna as a child until Tobias rewired the intercom to play ocean sounds whenever thermal stress activated the sensors. 62% higher community cohesion rates in frontier settlements with strong legacy narratives. Luna recited the statistic without looking up. Her fingers hovered over a series of equations at the note's margin, half-finished calculations for extending atmospheric scrubbers. He left trails everywhere. The final page contained no schematics, just 7 lines of text centered precisely on the sheet. If you're reading this, you've seen what's below. Now ask yourself, who deserves to stand beside you? The answer's in the docking logs, not the official ones. The ones under the floor panel by bunk 7, yes, that bunk. P.S. Tell Marlene the lights work fine. Luna was already moving before Rex finished reading. The blister's emergency locker yielded a pry bar with Tobias's initials etched near the grip. She took the ladder down 3 Sigma-9's lights burned steady against the lunar night. Below the bustling docking bay and repaired corridors, The alien structure pulses in its ancient rhythm. Luna's greenhouse sprouts Earth tomatoes under spectrum lamps. Miners trade ore for machine parts at fair rates. The mess hall chalkboard lists bartered promises instead of credits. On the observation deck, Rex watches Earth's Terminator line swallow another continent. Tobias's letter rests in its alcove, moonlight still filtering through the words. The greatest inheritance wasn't the base, the tech, or the power, just a simple choice. Knowledge used to build rather than take. The future waits beneath their feet. Patient, testing,